Today we are live from Roland Reach Plumbing for their 25th anniversary, so certainly congratulations to Roland Reach. We are at 11606 Columbia Park Drive East, just off of Greenland Road. And if you've been listening to 1010XL for a while, you know Roland Reach is where quality and experience count. Taylor, this is your neck of the woods.
It is, yeah. Mandarin High School right down the road. Very familiar with this road and the train tracks that I used to have to sit at every morning because I'd get caught by the train all the time. But, yes, very familiar with over here.
Yeah, Mandarin, like you said, is right around here, and so that means Carson Beck came from these parts, both Mandarin and Atlantic. Or I covered the game when Mandarin played Atlantic Coast, and he did transfer to Mandarin. Is that right?
He was at Providence.
That's right.
He started at
Providence
Providence.
and Mandarin. But yeah, these are some famous parts, both Carson Beck and Taylor Dahl.
There you go.
From Mandarin High School. Yesterday, Mia and I, we got to hang out with some of the position coaches, so we'll give you some of their thoughts coming up a little bit later in the show. But first, we're going to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars and which players on this Jaguars roster, as far as the offensive side of the ball, would start on the Chiefs or the 49ers. And I pose this question because, of course, those are the two teams in the Super Bowl, in case people weren't paying attention to the NFL in February. By the way, real quick, speaking of Roland Reach, I do use the ladies' room, and it is decked out in Ohio State.
Oh, no.
Guys, everything.
Oh, no.
So I talked to Roland, and I was like, wait, who's the Ohio State fan? He said he is.
I better watch what I say then. Oh, boy.
So, yeah, luckily we're not going to talk about Ohio State. No, we would say nice things about Ohio State like we did yesterday. But, yeah.
I did say nice things.
Yeah,
Yes,
we
you
said
did.
nice things. We just said that, you know, it's crazy to think that Ryan Day has lost like 2 games. It's 4 in the last 4 years, and yet he's on the hot seat.
Right.
And only,
he said he is. Roland
only
said he
in Columbus,
absolutely is.
Ohio, or maybe Ann Arbor would that be the situation.
Yes, absolutely.
Possibly Tuscaloosa, but that's a story for another time.
Right. No, I tend to agree. And the banner is hanging in the bathroom that says all the Ohio State National Championships. There's not one from 2006. Just saying. All right. So let's get it to the Jaguars offense. Which players on this Jaguars offense would start on the Chiefs or 49ers? We will start with the quarterback. And I think that's the fascinating conversation, Taylor and Mia. Trevor Lawrence, we all know, would not start on the Chiefs. But would he be the starting quarterback for the 49ers if there was a quarterback competition in San Francisco and it was Brock Purdy v. Trevor Lawrence? Who wins that quarterback battle?
Yeah, that I don't know. I have no idea because I think that a lot of criticism came behind Brock Purdy and maybe how he was more of like a system quarterback type of guy. But he's been really good and consistently good. But it's hard to ever measure that because we haven't seen Trevor Lawrence with a Debo and a Kittle and a Christian McCaffrey and all of these guys surrounding him. So it's hard to tell what it would look like if you plucked them and flip-flopped them, what it would look like. I think it would look different for Brock if he was here. But I can't guarantee that he wouldn't win a job because I think we've seen enough from him consistently that he's been able to be really good in high-pressure situations too.
Yeah, I mean, Brock is the definition of a Shanahan quarterback, which with the expansion of the proliferation, I should say, of the Kyle Shanahan tree between Green Bay, and now there's even roots potentially in Houston, even on the offensive side of the ball with Bobby Slowick, and then D'Amico Ryans on the defensive side of the ball. You can make the argument that and Mike McDaniel, who we talked about, not Mel McDaniel from yesterday, Mike McDaniel down in Miami with Tua Tagovailoa. You can make the argument, and many people nationally have, that there's like this whole little like cult or club of the Shanahan quarterbacks. And in terms of what Kyle Shanahan and all of his descendants need their quarterbacks to do, Brock Purdy does all that with a plus on it because he does have that quote-unquote sneaky athleticism that people love to talk about because he can be shifty. He's deceptively quick if he needs to get out in space on the run. He's not going to opt to run the ball first and foremost. He's going to sit back in the pocket, manage the game for you, and dice up a defense however it is that Shanahan or whoever the play caller is has instructed him to do so. But I think comparatively to the Jimmy Garoppolo, Kirk Cousins, the predecessors in the Shanahan tree, I think Brock Purdy, well, certainly maybe he doesn't have the size of Garoppolo or Cousins. He's a couple inches shorter. I do think the IQ, what's in between the ears, as well as that athleticism, says to me that he's perfect for that system. But Kyle Shanahan would take Trevor Lawrence in a heartbeat because he would be the quarterback that takes it beyond your stereotypical Shanahan quarterback. That's the reason they swung for the fences and traded up for Trey Lance because Kyle Shanahan said, I've been winning, I've been getting to Super Bowls by having a certain type of quarterback, but I haven't actually won a Super Bowl. And so I need to go out and get a guy who isn't the same guy that I've had for 10 plus years now. And so is Trevor Lawrence Trey Lance? No. But again, it's that superior athleticism that is beyond what he's had.
Yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence, if he was on the 49ers this past season, they would have won the Super Bowl and beaten the Chiefs.
Correct.
That's my belief because of all that talent on the 49ers. And nothing against Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is a perfect fit, like Mia said, for that offense. But Trevor Lawrence has something incredibly special. We just don't necessarily get to see it unleashed all the time because they're behind the sticks, whether it's the defense not playing well or the offensive line not protecting him and not being able to run the ball. I think for sure the Super Bowl champion would have been the 49ers if Trevor was there, not Brock.
And even if we do see it, we just take it for granted.
And at times,
or at least much of this town does.
And or some people would say
how quickly we forget the
Trevor,
Mike Glennon and
Trevor
Jake
fumbles
Luton
too much.
days.
Trevor fumbles, no, they wouldn't have won the Super Bowl with Trevor. Trevor would have fumbled the ball. I disagree. I think that style of offense would be great for him, but also the fact that he's got guys with such talent for yards after the catch, whether it's McCaffrey or Samuel Ayuk. I mean, they get more out of Jawan Jennings than most teams would be able to. The 49ers do. So
I'd be interested to hear how Niners fans would feel, like if they would want Brock, because Brock's been great to them. So a lot of people sometimes are like, why, we've seen enough from Brock and it's early in his career. This guy was the last pick in the draft, and so the expectations were obviously lower, which obviously helps. But I'd be truly interested to talk to Niners fans and see if they feel the same way with that, because I feel like they might be a little more confident on Brock than maybe some other people are.
And they might be because they probably don't watch Trevor play in and play out. So if they just pull up stats,
or when they do, it's the game that happened last year.
Or it's the game when the Jaguars were terrible. So at that point they'd be like, no, we're riding with Brock all day. All right, Jaguars wide receivers: Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas Jr. I believe they would start on the Chiefs. I do not believe any of the three of them would start on the 49ers.
Yeah, same. I think that I want to say maybe all three would be starting on the Chiefs, to be honest. And we'll see with Xavier Worthy and what he ends up being. But when it comes to the Niners, maybe one of those guys, maybe Kirk or Gabe or Brian Thomas would be wide receiver 3.
I don't even know if they would.
And that's why I said maybe. Maybe,
I think
maybe behind Jawan.
Right, because don't forget,
Jawan.
it's funny, you look at the Niners depth chart right now, and they have Debo, Ayuk, Jawan Jennings, and Ricky Pearsall, who was a 31st overall pick, is quote-unquote waiting in the wings, and yet from the reporting out in San Francisco, the knock on the Niners from their opposition was they have guys that have speed, but they don't have guys that are crafty route runners that actually man-to-man can beat your guy one-on-one, and that's what Ricky does. Yeah. And so, in reality, I mean, this is a stack of wide receiver 1 through 4 as you're going to find. And look, I understand Jawan Jennings isn't, one of those headliners. The hope is that Pearsall is going to be more of that 3.
Jennings was really good in the postseason.
Correct.
Though.
I mean, there's a reason they just signed him to a 2-year extension this week. And so that's where I have some pause in terms of finding a wide receiver on the Jags roster who would supplant someone on that Niners depth chart. If Brian Thomas Jr. becomes all that everyone hopes he will be, perhaps Christian Kirk would give them a different dynamic. But aside from that, no, not on the Niners. Certainly, yes, on the Chiefs, I think that Andy Reid would take perhaps the Jaguars' entire wide receiver room because even if they're confident in Rashee Rice, we obviously know the off-the-field drama could affect on-the-field playing time.
And Mecole Hardman, the Chiefs just signed him to an extension today, or re-signed him today. So as far as the San Francisco 49ers and the Jags offensive line, I'm going to say that Cam Robinson would start on the Chiefs, not the 49ers.
I would say all 3 tackles that the Jaguars have would start on the Chiefs between Cam,
See, that's the interesting conversation.
Walker Little, Anton Harrison.
Would they take Anton Harrison over Jawan
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
I would.
Yes, they would. They would. Because, again, and we talked about this yesterday, look, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, Taylor, but Anton Harrison, a rookie, turned 21 in February, was drafted in April, plays left tackle his entire life, is told not only are you going to have to start day 1, you have to learn right tackle. Tears his labrum in training camp, goes on to not miss a single snap his rookie season.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm taking him.
I would take him too.
Yeah.
And that's, look, Jawan proved something in his contract year. He looked good at times as a rookie here in Jacksonville. He's a good football player, but Anton's ceiling is just higher. It just is.
Yes, like I said, I would take Anton over Jawan Taylor, and you also are going to reduce the amount of penalties, Taylor, if you have Anton Harrison and not Jawan Taylor.
Yeah, my first one, honestly, that came to my head was Anton. The other ones, I think you could argue across the line, and I think that even when you're looking like the Chiefs last year had like a middle of the pack offensive line, and the Jags had a terrible offensive line. Granted, there was a lot of injuries. I know Chiefs actually had a few injuries that they were dealing with too. So to me, that's just like the argument right there that I think Anton, for me, is probably the only person that I would immediately pluck and put in there.
See, when I went through it, I think Cam Robinson would start on the Chiefs for left tackle, not the 49ers because they have Trent Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mitch Morse, I think, would start potentially on the 49ers, but not on the Chiefs because the Chiefs have Creed Humphrey.
Right.
We talked about Anton. As far as the guards are concerned, Ezra Cleveland might start on the 49ers, but not the Chiefs. And Sheriff would start on the 49ers, not on the Chiefs. So it's always interesting to find the different holes that, and I looked up the PFF rankings like Mia, you're doing now, in order to come up with this philosophy. So I do think if you picked both teams, they could find starting roles. If you picked one team, the better team, they might not.
Yeah, PFF rankings, just so we're all on the same page. For everyone who knocked Brandon Scherf, said it was a down year. For everyone who knocked Ezra Cleveland, the guy who was traded for while he was hurt and then got hurt again, both make PFF's top 32 guards in the National Football League. This is included and right guards. It's not just the left or the right. And they come in at number 17 and number 24 overall, with Scherf at 17 and Ezra at 24.
The Chiefs guards, though, even better, with Joe Tooney and Trey Smith.
Tooney comes in at number 2, and then Trey Smith comes in at number 13. Yep. As far as the Niners go, though, that's where it gets interesting for me, because John Feliciano had a great run in Buffalo, looked good in San Francisco. There's Bucky Brooks and Daniel Jeremiah did an interesting segment this week on Move the Sticks where they spoke. Well, they used the soundbite from the Niners' longtime offensive line coach, who's been Kyle Shanahan's first lieutenant, and he was asked, "Would you rather have an offensive line that from 1 through 5, from left to right tackle, maybe they all grade out as B+, they're all really good, or would you rather, which as everyone knows is what the Niners situation kind of is right now, have 2 All-Pros, 2 mediocre guys, and 1 rookie who's struggling?" And he said he would take, obviously you would prefer the first situation. You want guys that are just great, good, not a couple greats and a couple meh. You want good across the line, because the opposition is going to dial things up and try to target your weaker links. But at the same time, he said if he's in the draft war room and he's told we have the opportunity to take a future all-pro tackle in the first round, or we can take a future all-pro wide receiver and we'll get you a tackle we can develop in the 4th round, as an offensive line coach, he would take that scenario every day. He says, give us the weapons, we will develop the offensive linemen. And so that's why names like Aaron Banks, Jake Brandel, bringing in a Feliciano, a veteran, Colton Mikovits, the right tackle, maybe they're not household names, but if they feel like they're in that B- to B+ category, or at least they can develop them to that point, ditto to Dominic Pooney, the rookie out of Kansas they drafted on day 2, that's where the Niners are okay with that, because they understand the weapons around it. But yes, I do think the Jaguars personnel would elevate that from, say, a B- to a B+.
And that's what the Jaguars did, Taylor. They drafted Brian Thomas Jr., so they went with the guy they're hoping will be an all-pro receiver, if not Pro Bowl receiver, certainly at some point. And they drafted Javon Foster a little bit later.
And I think an important with the offensive line to me, and why maybe certain guys I wouldn't start over some of these other one, is health. Like a big part of the offensive line is staying healthy and being able to play. And if you have a history of not being able to do that, then no one's going to choose you over. Maybe you're an A guy, but you can't be on the field. You're never on the field all season long. But then this B guy hasn't missed a game. And with San Fran, that was their thing. They stayed really healthy on the offensive line. And they had, the one I was reading, it just said not one of their players had below a grade of a 63, which was like the average in the league. So to me, it's just, there's so many factors that you have to look into. And yes, like you could go through and be like, I would take this guy in a heartbeat, but if some of these guys can't stay healthy and can't be on the football field, then that factors in big time.
Yeah, certainly it does, and not just staying healthy, but also not being suspended is,
Yes.
is certainly part of that too. All right, let's look at the running back, Travis Etienne. I believe he would start on the Chiefs over Isaiah Pacheco, as good as Pacheco is, but we all know he's not starting over Christian McCaffrey.
Especially on the Chiefs' part, because I would think that knowing the success they had with Jerick McKinnon the last few years in the receiving game, Andy Reid would salivate at the opportunity to have a pass-catching running back like Travis Etienne or, since we brought his name up, Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, I like Isaiah Pacheco a lot, actually. So that one, I think that Etienne would probably end up beating him out. But I do feel like if it was a situation where both were on the team, you'd see a lot of both of them, because Pacheco also had almost 300 yards and a couple receiving touchdowns last season too. So they were able to find ways to fit him in that. And he was been a guy who, his first season you were seeing glimpses of it, and then year two he really popped off. So I think that, to me, it's closer. But I do think Etienne would still be starting.
And to tight end Evan Ingram, this one's a little more nuanced because Evan Ingram is a different tight end than George Kittle for the 49ers. A little bit more similar to Travis Kelce, but certainly still not quite to that level. But I do think Evan Ingram would find a role with both of these teams in two tight end sets.
Yeah, I think both head coaches would be A-okay with running some heavy personnel to make that happen, even with the treasure trove of wide receivers if you're Kyle Shanahan and the Niners. I think you could make the argument, if we're talking top 5 tight ends, in the National Football League, all three of those guys are in the top 5. And if two of those teams are playing for a Super Bowl last year, I think the Jags and their tight end situation, very good company. Because also when you look at the depth chart in San Francisco and Kansas City, it's not like here's the thing. Because the Jags have played the Chiefs 3 times in the last 2 years, we know names like...
None of them.
Yes, correct. We know Noah Gray's name because he's popping up because there's so much attention given to Travis Kelce that he tends to catch passes. They went out and they drafted Jared Wiley in the 4th round, TCU tight end. Irv Smith Jr. played for the Bengals last year, has bounced around the league since being drafted by the Vikings, of course, played at Alabama. So names that you know, a good depth chart. I'm not going to say that, the Jags depth chart with Brenton Strange and Luke Farrell and Josh Peterson, at least on name recognition, is better than that Chiefs tight end room. But I'm going to say in terms of experience, I would put Luke Farrell and Noah Gray in the same category. I'd put them in the same arena together in terms of reps and amount of opportunities they've had. As far as the tight end room for the Niners goes, Logan Thomas, a name a lot of people know. But other than that, Eric Salbert was here during a failed was he in here in 2020 or 2021? I forget. But yes, the former Drake University FCS tight end had a cup of coffee here in Jacksonville. He's their number 4. Cameron Latu was drafted this past season. So yeah, I mean, I think the Jags have the edge in terms of overall depth if you're going to talk about 12, 13 personnel compared to the Niners, but I like the Chiefs' depth too at the position, and I think again it speaks to Andy Reid, Doug Peterson, similar philosophies.
I think in the sense of, would this guy be starting? Would Evan Ingram be starting over George Kittle, Travis Kelce? No way.
Right.
I think that even when you look at Kittle's number, Kittle had like 40 less receptions than Evan Ingram and still had more yards. Had way more yards per reception. Kittle is an absolute monster. So if anybody would say that, that's just crazy to me. Travis Kelce, I think, is just Travis Kelce, and he's one of those guys that even in moments when you feel like, okay, the first half of the game, where's Travis Kelce? He has no reception, and then all of a sudden he has 2 touchdowns and 120 yards in the second half, and that's just the kind of person that he is. Again, less receptions than Evan Ingram, more yards per reception. Those are all things you want from a tight end. I just think them being more, and Kittle definitely being just like a full-on true tight end, and then Travis Kelce kind of that in-between a receiver and a tight end, and Evan Ingram to me is more of a slot receiver. So I don't think either of those teams would choose Evan Ingram.
For people who heard Logan Thomas's name and they're like, wait, tight end? Yes, he did play quarterback at Virginia Tech and switched to tight end.
Wasn't he
Good
in
immaculate
Washington?
he was at Washington.
Yeah.
Good immaculate grid answer, by the way.
Yes, absolutely. That would be a good one. All right, so we talk a lot about the offensive line on this program, I'm sure on every show here on the station, because of all the things that went wrong last season. Yesterday, like I said, we got to talk to position coaches, both offensive and defensive, for the Jaguars. Phil Rauscher, the offensive line coach, what did he have to say about the offensive line going wrong? Here's his answer.
There was times, and I'm going to say this, and I'm probably going to take some for it, but there's times we got to play better. But there's times I was proud of those guys because, like, there was so much that got thrown at them, like in terms of different guys playing different spots. And I mean, for Ezra Cleveland to come in, we traded for him as a guard, And then on a Wednesday, us go, hey, you're going to go play left tackle against Miles Garrett. And he was like, okay. And then Blake Hance, you're going to go in there as soon as he gets hurt and go. And like, that's hard. Now, do we got to do it better? You're damn right we do. You know what I mean? That's the profession we've chosen. You know what I mean? We got to play the best football we can, try to win the championship. But at the end of the day, we got to just keep on rolling. So, yeah, that's football. That's the end of the day.
Kirk Ferentz would be very proud of Phil Rauscher for that. That's football. Look, and I was just on with the Vegas flagship station this morning, and, you know, they made the argument with both Trevor and the rest of the team. Injuries happen to everyone except for the San Francisco 49ers last year.
And the Jags the year before.
Like, can you realistically say that is the reason? Offensive line, and Cam Robinson in every interview I think he's done this spring has reiterated that when it comes to the offensive line, you can largely, just because in the case of Ezra, who was brought in October, makes his debut late November against the Texans after being on IR, mind you, and then 2 weeks later is playing left tackle, a position he's never played before. That's an example of, look, like, yes, he's a professional. He's going to give it his all. He's going against Myles freaking Garrett. Like, that's one of those situations where you can say the injuries came into effect when you're down to your fourth string left tackle because, oh, by the way, Ezra got hurt in that game and Blake Hance had to come in. But I agree. Like, and that's why that's football, because injuries are a part of football. But at the very least, with the offensive line, and like I said, Cam's been saying this same line over the last few weeks because I think he really wants Jaguar fans to hear this. If you don't have continuity, if you don't even know who this guy is, how are you going to be able to work next to each other in a position where you have to know where the other four guys are at all times?
Yeah, and obviously things went wrong, Taylor, from the get-go because it was supposed to be Cam Robinson playing next to Ben Barch, and then, of course, Luke Fortner, Sheriff, and Anton Harrison. That was their assumption at one point in time last offseason. So, yes, you have the suspension, and you just had the fact that Barch never came along.
Yeah.
Then you went and traded for a guy that was hurt. So you knew that the continuity, and you found out certainly about the suspension and everything, like I said. So you knew immediately the continuity wasn't going to be there. And then you had to hope that Sheriff and Anton played really well. Well, you got one of those two to play really well, and that's Anton. And Sheriff, certainly, we've seen him be a warrior and all that, but he's been banged up too. So I sure as heck hope that they have a plan for when guys get hurt on the offensive line this season, because that's going to happen.
Yeah, and that's what I think scares a lot of people because, you know, most people are saying, like, you're a Mitch Morse injury away from having the same offensive line potentially that you did last year that couldn't protect Trevor. So that's why people's concern comes in. And I do feel like a lot of times it happens that way to where it
happens all over the league.
One injury happens, and the next thing you know, another guy goes down, and you're three weeks later, you're like, how did we lose 3 offensive linemen within 3 weeks? But I feel like, and a lot of times, they all are so used to working together. So when one of those guys, when your anchor piece drops out, things kind of fall apart. And then that's when you start getting banged up and you start seeing more injuries. The quarterback obviously doesn't have that connection with the center, if it's a backup center, if it's a third string center, whatever it may be. So all of these things, it's this big trickle down effect. And that's what we saw, unfortunately, last year from week 1 with not having Cam right away.
Here's the thing, though. I'm looking at the Chiefs. Let's bring it back. I'm looking at the Chiefs' offensive line right now, right? So Donovan Smith was on a 1-year deal. He walks. Now you have Wanya Morris, hopefully, since he was also just arrested recently, at your starting left tackle. Or Kingsley Suamataia, who you drafted in the 2nd round but has never played left tackle, and people don't even know if he'll be fully ready, developed to be an NFL starter come week 1. So a lot of mystery at that left tackle position. Joe Thuney missed the Super Bowl because of an injury.
Yep.
So you had, I'm blanking on his Allegretti, who's now with Washington. So let's say Joe Thuney goes down week 1, and let's say Wanya Morris goes down, and now you have to start Suma Matea. Is that not the same situation that the Jags are finding themselves in? Like, that they're suddenly down to their, this looks like our line from last year that was a problem. A question mark at left tackle and
very quickly
a backup at left guard. This is a situation across the league.
Definitely.
So when we say if Mitch Morse goes down, you're right back to where you were, that could happen to any of the 31 teams in the National Football League.
I remember at one point last year, I want to say it was like 6-7 weeks in, because obviously the Bears were dealing with the same thing with the offensive line, but I was kind of reading into how many teams were dealing with offensive line issues, and it was a massive number. The amount of teams that were on their like 3rd or 5 different offensive line formation by week 6 astronomical.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's part of the game. Real quick, before we get ready to say hello to our first guest, which we are very honored to have, Doug Gottlieb joining us at 12:30. I do want to get to a point, Lauren, from 210 off the text line, Designed by Lifetime Enclosures, who says, why isn't someone else the backup center? Obviously, Tyler Shatley is back on the 91-man roster right now, and we also learned yesterday that Cooper Hodges has been taking some reps at backup center.
Yes, so there you have it. Like Mia said, we will chat with Doug Gottlieb next. The NBA Finals begin tonight. He's also the new head basketball coach at UW Green Bay, and of course the host of the Doug Gottlieb Show. You are listening to Helmets and Heels live from Roland Ridge Plumbing on 1010X on 82.5 FM.
Jacksonville's home for Florida Gators baseball.
The Gators advance to the Super Regional for a best-of-3 series against the Tigers in Clemson, Saturday at 2 and Sunday at 2:30 on 1010 a.m.
Prosser here. As you may or may not know by now, I did the research and decided to go with Jags concrete coatings for my garage floor. OMG, as the kids would say. I can't begin to tell you how good it looks, how happy we are. We brag on it anytime someone walks in the garage. They had the job finished in 1 day with a lifetime warranty. That's right. As the certified Pintech dealer for North Florida, the only company offering pure polyurea, I can't wait to do my patio deck next. Call 862-2000. That's the number, 862-2000, or jacksconcretecoatings.com.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
The hottest trend in casual dining has expanded in Jacksonville with its 5th location off 103rd. The Flame Broiler serves up protein-packed rice bowls. It's fast, healthy, and affordable. Order online at flamebroilerusa.com or visit any of our 5 locations. Flame Broiler, simply healthy.
David Lane here again for Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. After several surgeries for age-old issues, mainly my back and shoulders, there's no doubt that Southeast Orthopedic Specialists is my sustaining resource for living pain-free. Take it from me, and I'm being really honest here, there's no better orthopedic facility here in Jacksonville.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Add an ace to your Tuesday morning.
The 3rd ace in 4 days.
Brunch with a tour.
Tour news, tips, and inside info.
Brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Art of Natural Stone.
8:30 Tuesday morning on 1010XL.
Mia here. The NBA playoffs are heating up, and it's the perfect time to elevate your game with MyBookie. With MyBookie, you can bet from anywhere, anytime, so you never miss a shot to cash in on a play. You can even live stream and bet on the games right from the sportsbook, giving you everything you'll need to decide, cash out or let it ride. MyBookie really makes it easy to get paid with tons of boosted props and slam dunk parlays. And new boosts are now posted on the daily. It's more than just a sportsbook. Buzzer beaters, underdog upsets, and a community to share in all of the sweats. Give yourself a head start today and play with house money using promo code 1010XL when you make your first deposit. That's promo code 1010XL to claim a limited time bonus when you sign up and make your first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting.
Let's go! Join us this Saturday, June 8th at 7 o'clock in the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena as your Sharks take on the Tulsa Oilers. Great seats are still available. Ask about our awesome family package. 4 tickets, 4 food or merchandise vouchers, and a $25 Al's Pizza gift card. Get yours today. Call 904-621-0700 or visit jacksonsharks.com. Shark Tank is having a luau. So break out your flip-flops and grass skirts and come join us. Check out the Polynesian dancers and learn the hula at Shark Fest, our pregame party. The first 1,000 fans will get a free lei. It's going to be a totally tubular night.
Jacksonville Sharks, Tulsa Oilers.
That's Saturday, June 8th, 7 o'clock. For tickets, call 904-621-0700 or visit jacksharks.com. That's 904-621-0700 or jacksharks.com. Let's go!
Let's go. Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Our returning champion, a basketball court sweat mopper from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Lewis Cramp.
Great to be back, Merv.
There's only one category left on the board, Lewis. People you can trust to repair your air conditioner. Your 10 seconds starts now.
Well, I'm pretty handy with tools around. Right, so my Uncle Steve used to fix transmissions, so maybe he could... Okay, sorry. I guess just call the guys at Bueller?
That's right, Lewis. The highly trained technicians at Bueller Air and Plumbing have the tools and the experience to service any make and model of home air conditioner to make sure that you are cool.
You sure I can't just have a quick...
Yeah, we're done for today. Stay cooler with Bueller. Visit BuellerAir.com.
Hey, David here with Royal Pest Services. Men, are you struggling in the bedroom? Do spiders and roaches have you scared? Visit RoyalPestServices.com and let us help you get that man card back. Guaranteed results on our first visit.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Well, certainly we will keep you abreast of the very latest in the National Football League as off-season programs continue across the country. Everything is going on in the basketball world right now. The NBA Finals kick off tonight in Boston. The Boston Celtics, 6.5-point favorites over the Dallas Mavericks. We will get to not only my MyBookie picks a little bit later in the 12 o'clock hour, but that specific game in just a second with our first guest. An honor and a privilege to be joined on the All-Pro Roofing Hotline with Doug Gottlieb, not only the host of the Doug Gottlieb Show on Fox Sports Radio, but now the head basketball coach at UW Green Bay. Doug, thank you so much for joining Helmets and Heels.
Good morning. How are you? Or good day, I guess, depending on where you are.
No worries. I was on a call with a Vegas radio station this morning. I'm like, do I say good morning? Do I say good afternoon? Do I say, is it still last night? All is well. Appreciate you taking some time. Let's start with that job title that I just alluded to. Obviously, you've been in the world of media for quite some time. How were you lured to the great state of Wisconsin to become the head coach of Green Bay?
I was actually born in Wisconsin. My dad was the head coach at UW Milwaukee, which is our arch rival, ironically enough. So I do have some familiarity. I have a lot of friends in the area. And last year the job was open, and I was a finalist. And, you know, they always tell you, like, you missed it by this much. You're like, okay, you know, you kind of roll your eyes. Well, apparently that was true because Wyoming's head coach, Jeff Linder, stepped down and decided to go to Texas Tech as assistant coach. And Sundance Wicks, who was the head coach at Green Bay for just a year, is actually from the state of Wyoming and came to Green Bay after being an assistant at Wyoming. So it all just kind of fit. And Josh Moon called me and said, "Are you still interested?" And I said, "Oh, yes." And, a couple of days later, we ended up working it out. So that's it. It's been a whirlwind. A whirlwind is nothing compared to what it's been in the last couple of weeks because of the time in the cycle and the amount of attention that it's gotten, probably because there wasn't a lot else going on.
Yeah, I would think, Doug, you go from dealing with media hacks like ourselves to now suddenly you're having to deal with NIL and the transfer portal. Which is more of an arduous task, dealing with everything that goes on in the media world, or this unknown that once the toothpaste is out of the tube, there's nothing we can do about it, wild, wild west of college sports?
You know, again, keep in mind I'm like 3 weeks into the job here, right? But I can tell you that while it comes up in discussions at my level, you know, within reason, it's not a huge factor. We do have a collective. We do have some NIL money. We try and do it to support the kids the right way. But the other part to it is, like, I'm going to do my best and not complain, because this is a job that I asked for, I wanted, I yearned for. Whereas, you know, the media, it's not that I didn't want my job, but, like, I'm part of the media. If there's a problem, I'm part of it, you know. So I got to be some accountability to it. But, you know, I've kind of earned a little bit more of a right there to kvetch, if you will, about the media. And even the media stuff is like, really? We watch sports and talk about sports for a living, not rocket science. So I'm not much of a complainer either way. I'm kind of the luckiest dude there is. I'm like Lou Gehrig. I'm the luckiest man on the face the earth, you know? So, but the NIL thing, I mean, I have no doubt at the highest level, you get into a bidding war, you know, it's flyers poker. What are they really offering? And we have a little bit of that. You know, you'll get on the phone with somebody and they're not supposed to talk money with you, and suddenly, you know, you'll hear some new voice like, "What's your NIL?" Like, who is this? What is this about? I'm selling an opportunity to be part of something special, something different, something I believe will be successful and exciting. And you know, the other thing about our level is we can sell you on, if you choose, on using it to springboard you to something greater, which is kind of what college is supposed to be about anyway. We can just do it in a much quicker period of time. You come and lock in and have a great year.
Doug, we kind of have a similar mindset when we talk about, we laugh at ourselves when we're like, man, tomorrow's Monday, we have to go back to work. And I'm like, we just get to go talk about basketball and football all day long. But let's go to the NBA Finals. We're at that time of year, and there was some time off, so we're all ready for these games to kick off tonight. Ton of storylines coming out of this Finals, and one of the ones that kind of pop out to me, Drew Holiday. Boston gave up a good amount to get him. Some people critical of that. It really seems like it's paid off, though. So how big of a piece do you believe he's going to be able to be in this series, defensively, obviously, but also what he adds to that offense?
Well, and he's won a title, you know. Who else on that team has won an NBA title, whereas Drew has? So, I mean, I remember watching him. He was 17, playing for Campbell Hall High School, which is a private school in Studio City, California, and with Ben Howland, his future college head coach. And Drew's just one of these guys that you can't pinpoint any one thing he does that's great, but you also can't pinpoint any one thing he does that isn't at a very high level, you know? So he scores. He's not a great scorer, but they don't need him to be. He can really defend. He can really pass. He can really do so many different things. So, yeah, I mean, you're just going to have to guard Kyrie and Luka. So it's going to be paramount he plays well.
Doug, how would you feel if you were the Hawks and you traded Luka?
Well, there's a bit of a misconception there. They didn't have him. Like, the ones that should feel the worst are the Phoenix Suns. They had his national team coach was their head coach. He had just won the European Championship and had won a FIBA championship, and they didn't draft him to draft DeAndre. But for Atlanta, like that, when you see a draft day trade, those trades are done before they're actually drafted. Like, it's understanding, okay, if Luka's still there, you guys draft Luka, we're going to draft Trae Young, and that trade is consummated. So, yeah, I mean, I actually played against Trae's dad, Ray Young. He was at Texas Tech, and we're really good friends, and that's a real sore spot to them. Like, Trae's been a very good player, but Luka is the best player in the NBA by my estimation. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you feel that way. The reality is they never really had him. That trade was made before those picks ever went down.
Doug Gottlieb is our guest on the All Pro Roofing Hotline. Of course, you can catch him on the Doug Gottlieb Show on Fox Sports Radio on the iHeart app. Staying with Luka Doncic, Doug, we've heard now from multiple commentators throughout the duration of this postseason that Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, the best backcourt in the NBA. I don't know if people were saying that 3 months ago, let alone a month ago, and now suddenly that seems to be the talking point. Do you feel like it kind of came out of nowhere? Because, while certainly on paper, knowing both of their resumes, it makes sense, but I didn't see a bought-in Kyrie until probably 2 weeks ago.
I mean, I think the big part is, like, none of it means anything until you do it in the playoffs in the NBA anyway. And we do. I think a lot of us have. And when I say us, like, again, like I don't care, but there's a lot of us who have a sour taste in their mouth about Kyrie, and I think I try and do a good job of separating the Kyrie, the person, and some of the things that he said or posted with the actual player, because I still think he's still kind of searching for who he is, and he's a lot like Aaron Rodgers, just kind of defiant to be defiant. He's bright, but sometimes when you're bright that way, you're looking for answers that aren't actually really there, and you overthink things. But as a player, guys, he's amazing. The question was, I think you're right, buy-in. Would he defend? Can he play quote-unquote second fiddle? And what people don't know, and I remember Jeff Capel told me this because he recruited him to Duke. He's like, Kyrie was never really a point guard. Growing up, not really a point guard. At Duke, he didn't play 10 games for them. Wasn't really, he's just a scoring guard. So the idea of playing off of Luka, while it seems foreign because most of what he does is off the dribble, the fact is it does kind of fit his skill set better than we thought it would, or I think common perception is. And the second is, look, he's still an amazing scorer, but he's had a ton of surgeries. He's had a ton of injuries. He can't really carry a team. And so, instead of 3 of every 4 games going for 30, now it's maybe 2 or one and a third or whatever, but like 2 of every 4 games. And that's okay because Luka can carry you, and then they have a supporting cast that can score enough buckets. So I don't know if it feels like it's the best backcourt. What I do know about this matchup is they have 2 guys that I know are not scared of and can execute and make plays in the biggest of moments in the profession. Right? Luka can do it. He's done it. And, I know it's a different level of competition, but it's not a different level of pressure when you're doing it with your country, when they won the Euro Championships and when he won in FIBA. And you watched in these past couple series, when they need to close things out, he carries them. So Luka can do it, and Kyrie can do it. Whereas it's not a talent thing, but Tatum has yet to show us that he can do it. And Jaylen Brown, it's just about consistency. So we can all pick our sides, but I think that's really what it kind of comes down to. 2 super talented guys who we both believe can make the plays to win a championship, and going up against the Celtics team, which is a high-powered offensive team, but also a very good defensive team. So it's a good matchup. I just like the Mavericks in this matchup better.
Yeah, Doug, one of the things, too, because on the flip side, we talk about Kyrie returning and playing his former team, but also Porzingis. He's coming back from injury, hasn't played in 10 games, and now he's facing a team he used to play for also. And you just talked about that already high-powered offense. So what are your expectations from him and what he can add to that offense pretty immediately?
I think it's a big question, and I don't know the answer. Offensively, what he is he's a stretch 5. He can shoot threes, and then he can defend the rim when they're on defense. But to go from not playing for the last, month and a half to playing in an NBA Finals, and I know he's been playing scrimmages and ramping up, but the level of intensity is so high in the NBA Finals games. I don't know what that looks like. So he's very much an unknown. Like we always do, like X factors. I don't think there's any bigger X factor than a guy who's, 7'14" and can shoot threes and block shots, but we just have no idea how much he can play and how effective he'll be in the series.
Well, Doug, I hope there's a ton of high school athletes out there that realize that coming to play for you, play basketball for you, is going to also help them in their future media career.
I'd like to. That's the idea. You sell them on something a little bit different, which is, hey, the great thing about the opportunity that I want to provide for kids is not just on the basketball floor. It's if you want to get in the media, we can do that. And my career, I've been able to meet so many people from so many different walks of life. I mean, actually, this week, I took a couple of days off. I'm at it's not a secret society, but it's a very, very quietly kept secret CEO conference. And it's all about culture. And, I mean, again, the people I get to meet are CEOs of so many different corporations who I think would want to invest in their NIL, which has nothing to do with me. It's amazing. In addition to which, just trying to get a kid his first job, his second job, be there to help them out and kind of help usher them onto the next phase of life. That's what the college coaches are truly supposed to do. And, I can use the different platforms that I have to do that. But, when it comes to ball, we're going to have a lot of fun doing that. And then after playing ball, we're going to have a lot of fun and really support these kids. So try and do it a little bit differently than it's been done previously. And I think, if you want a different result, you got to try a different way. And that's what we try and look at it every day.
Well, Doug, appreciate your time on the All Pro Roofing Hotline. Before we let you go, two things I do want to get to. First and foremost, as we talk about coaches, new careers, the news that shook the world this morning, or at least the basketball world, that Dan Hurley will be interviewing for the Los Angeles Lakers head coaching job. As a college coach yourself, as someone who has spent a lot of time in Southern California, what do you make of the move from Dano?
I mean, it's surprising. So here's what people don't know about Dan. Okay? I think it could work. And the reason college coaches oftentimes struggle in the NFL and the NBA, and you guys obviously know this in Jacksonville, is when they're in college, it's all about the coach. And you can kind of be a dictator, or at least in previous generations, you definitely could. And the more you're doing it, the more empowered you are. It's really hard to make it about everybody else. Whereas when you're in the NBA, it's really about the players. You really have to make them feel like it's about them. They're grown men, they're professionals. They're built. You got one that's a billionaire. You got others that, could buy you out 15 times over. So you have to manage personalities while managing a very different sort of totem pole in terms of the pecking order within your franchise. I think Danny actually fits that. People see Danny ranting and raving over there on the sidelines. He's not killing his guys. He's not MFing them up and down. He's a great supporter of his players. If he can bring Luke Murray with him, Luke has an amazing offensive mind, and I'd love to see how that system works, because it does. I think it breathes and lives like an NBA kind of Euro style. That's where they derived it from. And being an LA guy, there just wasn't a lot of buzz to JJ getting the job. I think they could still settle on JJ and build like an all-star staff. But I think this is the Lakers trying to try something different, which would be very unique for the Lakers, right? Because the Lakers for so many times have former Laker player, then to an assistant coach, then to a head coach. Like, it's kind of the same cycle. And with the exception of the COVID year, when they're in the bubble, like, this has been a tough kind of a decade-long struggle for the Lakers. So try something different. I don't hate it. I'm surprised that Rob Pelinka would make this sort of a left turn. It did feel like it was JJ, and people were calling people about JJ just going back a day ago.
Yeah, people have already started digging up the LeBron tweets of him saying that Danny Hurley's a genius. So the spin, it's there and it's ready for the taking. One more real quick, just because I know you've tweeted about it, you've spoken about it on your program on Fox Sports Radio at length, Doug, and we'd be remiss as Helmets and Heels if we didn't ask about a character who has become perhaps the dominating character in the sports world over the last month plus. The Caitlin Clark effect. If you could just leave us with your thoughts on where the WNBA currently stands, mic drop it, let us know what the folks should know about what is going on in women's professional basketball right now, which, by the way, we're still waiting for Team USA to be announced as we speak.
Yeah, I mean, the Caitlin Clark effect is a real thing. People have fallen in love. You can't – it's like Taylor Swift last summer, right? Like, you can pick apart, like, well, her voice isn't great, and she's not this and she's not that. You know what? People have decided that they love Taylor Swift. Okay? So you can argue with it, or you can sit there and go like, this is amazing what she's been able to do, make herself into a billionaire, how she does her business, and see how long it goes out. It's very weird to, I think, those of us in the sports world, like, look, the WNBA has just been a nondescript alternative pro league for 25 years. And really the only reason it's gotten play on SportsCenter and ESPN is because they've had a deal they're a rights holder, so they want to promote what they have, and it's in the summer. It just kind of works. Well, now you have this force of nature who America has decided we love Caitlin Clark. And I think a lot of those ladies are having trouble handling the fact that somebody else is getting so much attention when they feel like they've earned it. And I get it. Like, anyone who's worked in business knows that not everybody who gets all the attention, gets all the acclaim, has earned it. But, again, you can either embrace it and ride with it or do what they're doing in the WNBA. And, look, I'll be interested if she isn't able to figure it out, in terms of not just her team, but her own play and her shooting. And she's got to get better. She's only a rookie, and she's going to have a long off season because, they went right from the season in college to right in the WNBA season. Of course, I'm sure she'll probably be on the Olympic team. I do wonder how long the love affair with her lasts or how long people care. But I will tell you right now, unequivocally, people care about it. Is without the pushing back against it when you're in her league just makes you seem so insecure. And I think a lot of these women have put their insecurities on display.
Well, we appreciate it, Doug. A wide-ranging conversation. Thank you so much for taking 20 minutes and speaking with us. And, of course, the Doug Gottlieb Show on Fox Sports Radio each and every day. And we'll be watching Green Bay this winter.
Hey, you do know my dad was the head coach at Jacksonville, don't you?
Oh, I did not know that. Wait, I didn't put two and two together. Okay.
Head coach of the Dolphins from 73 to 75.
Okay, so that was right after Artis then.
It was right after Artis. He was brought in to
right
clean up the
after
program.
Artis. All right, well, hey, you are a friend of the program, a friend of Jacksonville. You are always welcome on Helmets and Heels. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Anytime, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
There he goes again, Doug Gottlieb, now the head coach of UW Green Bay. We are up against it. We appreciate him taking so much time. Let's take a quick break, and on the other side, 1 o'clock hour, we will be catching up with Nick De La Torre, pivoting to Gator baseball as well as back to the National Football League. This is Helmets and Heels on 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Now, another classic moment in Jags history.
Palmer the throw, and he's sacked back at the 11-yard line. And it's the massive tackle, Marcus Stroud.
Jaguars pride forever. 1010XL.
15,000 workers. I'm Brian Rose from Remedy Staffing. We survey 15,000 blue-collar workers each year to better understand what drives quality and dependability in our workforce. The survey shows when looking for a new job, the initial pay rate, job security, and safety while working are the most important factors for hourly workers. If you're an employer and would like to learn more about the voice of the blue-collar worker, please call us at 904-528-1933.
Lauren Brooks here from Mayport CNC Fisheries. At my house, we had a feast from Mayport CNC Fisheries with the freshest shrimp around, and it was unbelievable. They also have oysters, scallops, mahi, and so much more. Want to eat like a local? Head to the beach and visit my friends at Mayport CNC Fisheries.
All right, get those boats ready. The Dailies Old School Kingfish Shootout presented by Yellowfin is coming soon to St. Augustine. It's June 8th. Just go to oldschoolkingfish.com. You can find out more. The grand prize is a yellowfin bay boat. And with limited boundaries, no bait buying, and no checkout, it is seriously old school. That's why it's the Old School Kingfish Shootout. Here's how you do it. You go online, you sign up, and you become part of what is going to a terrific event. It's the Old School Kingfish Shootout. Go to oldschoolkingfish.com.
Did you know a metal roof from Prime Roofing will last 2 to 3 times longer than a shingle roof? If you want a better roof, think metal. Think Prime Roofing. Schedule your free estimate today at primeroofingfl.com. That's primeroofingfl.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 6, 2018, LeBron James passes Michael Jordan's record for most 30-point games in NBA playoff history.
Score free gifts for the greatest dad this Father's Day at Lowe's. Get a free Select Cobalt tool with your purchase of a 24-volt max battery 2-pack. And get a free Select Craftsman string trimmer or leaf blower with purchase of a Select V20 push mower up to a $149 value. Lowe's knows dads. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 6/12. While supplies last. Selection varies by location.
I have done in my career literally thousands of joint replacements.
Meet Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, National Medical Director at QC Kinetics, an acclaimed orthopedic surgeon who now advises patients try all they can do to avoid the knife and consider regenerative medicine.
I myself was able to continue skiing for 10 years after my knees started to be a problem because I accessed regenerative medicine.
Now, after 20 years of study, research, teaching, publications, and clinical experience, Dr. Scheinkup is regarded as one of America's true pioneers.
This is the future of medicine.
Dr. Scheinkup came to QC Kinetics after seeing what they were doing around the country, helping tens of thousands of patients get lasting relief from joint pain with no surgery and no drugs.
QC is so far ahead of the game in its science, its protocols, its people, its facilities.
Call now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
Coverage and analysis of the 2024 off-season workouts on 1010XL is brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter, plumbing, septic, and air conditioning. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Mia here. You've heard me rave about my friends at Duck Duck Rooter, the #1 master septic contractor in all of Florida. But don't forget about Duck Duck Air Conditioning, the Jacksonville area's AC experts. The temperature is about to turn up a notch, folks. Should your AC not be working at your home or business, like me last summer, Duck Duck AC can help. Call 904-862-6769.
What's up? I'm Patrick Young. If you're a business owner, make your plans to attend the Florida SBDC Network Small Business Success Summit, August 19th and 20th at the Sawgrass Marriott in Ponte Vedra. You'll network with other Florida business owners, learn marketing and operational strategies. Plus, I'll deliver an inspirational keynote message. There's also a reverse trade show event where you can speak with government agencies to explore their business partnerships. Register online at floridasbdc.org, and I will see you there.
Brackish Vodka, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is the smoothest local vodka you can find. Made right here in Jacksonville, Florida, 100% from corn, Brackish Vodka is the local gluten-free choice. Brackish Vodka, for those that live life slightly salty. A proud partner of the Jaguars. Brackish Vodka is now available at Hurricanes Grill and Wings in Bartram Park.
Ever buy a gym membership but don't ever use it? Who hasn't? ET here, sports fans, and instead, I send plants and flowers to people I love from Kuhn Flowers, home of the beautiful window display on Beach Boulevard. Now that's money well spent. Kuhn Flowers.
Visionaries, builders, and doers. Are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor on 1010XL. Now, Mia's midday MyBookie picks. Experience the biggest thrill from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
You heard me mention it during our wonderful interview with Doug Gottlieb. The Boston Celtics 6.5-point favorites, according to MyBookie, over the Dallas Mavericks in Game 1 of the NBA Finals tonight. But that's boring. How about the winning margin? You can bet on that only at MyBookie. I like the Celtics right around that 6.5 mark, but how about plus 330 on the number for the Celtics to win by 6 to 10 points? I like those odds a lot better than the minus 110 for that 6.5-point spread. The first point scorer has also moved after yesterday. Kristaps Porzingis was the surprise pick to score first in this ball game. Jaylen Brown now the odds favorite at plus 450. I like that one as well. Parlay them together, go make some money, and have some fun during the NBA Finals only at MyBookie. Don't go anywhere either, because on the other side, Nick De La Torre live from the road en route to Florida Clemson Super Regionals, college baseball talk, and more, only on Helmets and Heels.
You ever have that feeling?
1010XL.
Were you not sure if you were awake or still dreaming?
All the time.
1010XL.
Thought it wasn't real.
Your mind makes it real.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Let's go! Join us this Saturday, June 8th at 7 o'clock in the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena as your Sharks take on the Tulsa Oilers. Great seats are still available. Ask about our awesome family package. 4 tickets, 4 food or merchandise vouchers, and a $25 Al's Pizza gift card. Get yours today. Call 904-621-0700 or visit jacksonsharks.com. Shark Tank is having a luau. So break out your flip-flops and grass skirts and come join us. Check out the Polynesian dancers and learn the hula at Shark Fest, our pregame party. The first 1,000 fans will get a free leg. It's going to be a totally tubular night.
Jacksonville Sharks, Tulsa Oilers.
That's Saturday, June 8th, 7 o'clock. For tickets, call 904-621-0700 or visit jacksonsharks.com. That's 904-621-0700 or jacksharks.com. Let's go!
Let's go!
Mia here. The NBA Finals have arrived, and it's the perfect time to elevate your game with MyBookie. With MyBookie, you can bet from anywhere, anytime, so you never miss a shot to cash in on a play. You can even live stream and bet on the games right from the sportsbook, giving you everything you'll need to decide. Cash out or let it ride. Hey, you just heard me mention my picks for tonight's Game 1 at TD Garden. I like the Celtics by 6 to 10 points. That's plus 330 right now at MyBookie, as well as Jaylen Brown to be the first scorer in this game at plus 450. But how about this? You like parlays? You can now get parlays only at MyBookie. Maybe you want to parlay the NBA Finals with the winner of the Memorial Tournament. Scotty Scheffler plus 255 sounds like easy money to me. And you can parlay that with either Brown or that margin for the Boston Celtics. Give yourself a head start today and play with house money using promo code 1010XL. That's promo code 1010XL to claim a limited time bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
Hi, this is Earl Ron, president of New South Window. New South is having a one-day factory sale this Saturday only in our factory showroom. 40% off energy-efficient windows and patio doors. One day only, this Saturday from 9 till 4. Please visit us at newsouthwindow.com.
Hey, it's Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. If you're like me, you're getting crushed by rising costs of everything these days. I get it. It's brutal, and credit card rates are ridiculous and going higher. That's why at Loan Pronto, we launched our Express Equity Line of Credit to bring you the relief you and your family need, using your home, your most valuable asset. We've helped thousands of people like you get fast relief with cash. The average homeowner who does this gets tens of thousands in just days and is able to save $850 per month in overall expenses. I'm talking life-changing money. Your money that you have access to right now. Listen, if you're ready to get control of your finances and get off the hamster wheel, call Loan Pronto. You can get approved for Express Equity Line of Credit in just minutes, and we can get your cash in less than a week. Stop digging a deeper credit card hole today. Call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
An ACL tear can be a devastating injury with prolonged pain and rehabilitation. Hi, I'm Dr. George Bari. I'm a sports medicine orthopedic surgeon who grew up right here in Jacksonville and then went on to train with the world-renowned Dr. James Andrews. At Bari Orthopedics, we use the most current techniques to get you back on the field with less pain and quicker rehabilitation. We treat all types of sports injuries with the newest techniques available. Please call us for consultation or visit BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
Enjoy the thrill of the grill at John Smith Subs, with specialty subs like the Steak Bomb, the Gator, plus a full lineup of cold and hot deli subs, including the best Cuban and Duval. Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs on Hodges and JTB.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and I've got some exciting news from Leonard Truck Outfitters and their new location on Beach Boulevard. Stocking brands like Real Truck, UWS, WeatherGuard, Carry-On Trailers, and much more. Grand opening celebration June 28th, starting at noon with tons of special promotions and giveaways like a brand new golf cart.
AC replacement? If your AC unit is ready to go kaput, then it's time to call Florida Home AC. With over $3,000 in tax credits waiting for you on select systems, take advantage of it. Call 777-4300. Get Florida Home AC to cool you off.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by Southern Oak Insurance. The Jags believe they may have found their diamond in the rough from their 6th-round pick in this year's draft. Kicker Cam Little from Arkansas sets records in his 3 years with the Razorbacks, making 82.8% of his career field goals while never missing extra points. Jags special team coach Heath Farwell talked about the value that Little adds to the Jags.
You know, we love Cam. I think Cam, when I worked him out, we loved him, and I just sensed that he was very competitive. I really liked what he was doing, and so I thought it was a really cool guy to bring in here. We liked the value in the 6th round, and it worked out. You know, it's a great opportunity. Obviously, Riley's made some big kicks for us, so we have a great competition. 2 really good kickers. But we really like Cam, and we thought it was a good opportunity to add to the program, add to the competitive position of kicker, and let's see what it looks like come, preseason games and training camp.
It's 92 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
We are live here at Roland Reach Plumbing for their 25th anniversary, where quality and experience count. Roland Reach services Jacksonville, the Beaches, Orange Park, St. Augustine, Fernandina Beach. Call them at 904-260-7059 or find them online at plumbingjacksonville.com. We really appreciate our friends from Roland Reach having us out as we do. Welcome in Nick De La Torre to talk all things Florida baseball. He's a senior writer for Gators Online and On3 Sports. Nick, where exactly are you between here and Clemson?
I am in Gray, Georgia. Somewhere in Georgia.
Okay,
I'm going to look that up on the maps. I want to know where.
It does all start to blur together when you're driving through Georgia.
Is it? Yeah, I'm going to guess you're north of Macon?
Yeah.
North of Macon,
Yep.
yes.
There we
you
go.
go.
So
Yeah.
you just passed Macon, so you just got through the worst part, in my opinion, of that whole drive, although I've never actually driven to Clemson.
I have. It's not bad.
Yeah, the Valdosta to Macon stretch, I firmly believe, is like, you don't know exactly where you are.
What time of day
It's
is.
all the same. So, Nick, credit to you. You've made it through the worst of it.
Absolutely. All right, so Nick, I'm a Gator alum, and I did expect Florida to play well in the regional, but didn't quite expect Florida to be out of pitchers and be able to beat Oklahoma State in Stillwater. So I'm still buzzing about last weekend and really early this week. How do you expect things to go? Do you expect Kevin O'Sullivan to go with Cags for the second game again, or do you think he's going to change things up? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Jack Cagliano is the name we all know, and for good reason, but Liam Peterson's been Florida's best pitcher down the stretch. I think that was the thought process in throwing him in game one, and they're going back to that. Liam Peterson was really good in his start in Stillwater, and has been good really since a start or an outing up at Vanderbilt. So he'll pitch game one, and Cags game two, and then if the if necessary game happens on Monday, then I think we see Pearson Powell start that. But you do everything you can to win game one, and everything you can to win game two.
Nick, let me go back a little bit, because I feel like less than a month ago, we were talking about how Florida just needed to beat Georgia that weekend, and there was honestly a little bit concerned that would even happen and what that would lead to. So in perfect timing, it looks like they've gotten hot in all the right spots. So what stands out to you the most, what's happened this last few weeks, and how that's led to them being successful so far in the regionals and super regionals?
Yeah, I think it's been a really frustrating year. I go out to a lot of the fall practices, I'll write football stories while watching fall practice, and the team I thought was really, really good. Obviously, you had to replace a ton of production of Wyatt Langford, B.C. Ryatel, Josh Rivera, Hurston Waldrop, Brandon Sproat, but I thought they had a really good mix of veterans and freshmen, sophomores, and for whatever reason, Florida just couldn't gain momentum and then sustain momentum once they got it this year. They hadn't won 3 games in a row since games 2 through 6 of the season, and we're 60 games in now. So when they lost game 2 at Oklahoma State, I thought, man, I don't know that they have enough pitching. But I think what we're seeing is some of those young pitchers, Liam Peterson, Fisher Jameson's not young, but in terms of playing is young, and he was sensational in Stillwater, and you're getting some contributions from Frank Menendez and other players as well. So to me, it's kind of it's clicking for some of the freshmen. And then Florida's offense has been good all year. It can go into some lulls, but can really hit the ball in the park. And I keep saying home runs make up for a lot of sins.
Nick De La Torre is our guest on the All Pro Roofing Hotline as he is en route to Florida Baseball Super Regional Showdown with the Clemson Tigers. First pitch on Saturday at 2 p.m. in Game 1 of that series. Nick, you mentioned it. The offense can go into lulls. I have questions about, personally, and this goes not just for college baseball but professional baseball as well, how sustainable the home run ball can be. Because when you take out the 17-11 score against Nebraska and that 19-run output against Georgia in the finale of that series, Florida has scored more than 5 runs just once since May 17th. And so and that was a 10-inning game, excuse me. So do you have concerns about this offense if they do go cold against the Tigers?
Yeah, I think, well, the one interesting thing is as I look at Clemson, I think they are kind of built a lot like Florida, and I think we might get some Big Ten football scores in Clemson this weekend. And when I look at Clemson, I think that they don't have a lot of the gripes that their fan base has. Is they don't have a deep pitching staff. I think that's a lot of the gripes you hear about Florida. But for the Gators, it's kind of been, at least from my view and my opinion, a guy's not staying within themselves. Their situational hitting has not been good. And I go back to the Sunday in Columbia, Missouri, and Florida's winning by 2 runs, I think, for 1 run in the 9th inning. They get bases loaded, no outs, and you get guys going up there trying to hit grand slams when you just need to hit the ball hard through the infield or hit a fly ball deep enough to score the guy from third, and instead you strike out 3 times. And I think Florida's gotten better in that aspect. But, like as you said, there's a lot of strikeouts in this lineup, which kind of leads to, zeros being put up and not scoring runs. So Florida has gotten better, but it's not a team that I would say is great situational hitting.
Nick, how much money would it have taken for you to put down that Ashton Wilson would have been the MVP of the regional in Stillwater?
Yeah, your money or mine?
Yours, obviously.
If you're gonna fund it, I would put down all of it. I would not put my money on it though. It reminds me of Jonah Garand from, I believe that was the 2019 regional. Just got put into the line because of injuries and had the regional of his life. It's interesting when Florida is trying to, even before the Georgia series became so important. It became important because you lost Kentucky in a home series, and not only did you lose the series, you lose Ty Evans, who was having a career year, and really was the guy that I thought they would leave behind Jack Caglione to protect him in the lineup. He goes for a ball, breaks his wrist against the wall. You turn to a freshman, Hayden Yost, and Hayden Yost tears his ACL during a Wednesday practice before the Georgia series starts on Thursday. And that's the reason Ashton Wilson is even in the lineup to begin with. So it's hard for baseball. Baseball's a game of failure. It's hard, when you're an Ashton Wilson, you're only getting a pinch hit every once a week, every now and then, to get into a rhythm and to gain confidence. And I think him being able to answer the call at Georgia and then continue that, and he's only building confidence now. He's a good ball player, but in a game of failure, I think getting this confidence early is probably really, really important and key for him.
I know, Nick, there's still games to be played, but I did want to mention, because I saw one of your tweets about the infield right now and what Florida is going to be losing this offseason, and kind of looking ahead, because obviously they went and they snagged one of the JU baseball players, one of the infielders over there. And so probably, I'm guessing obviously more needs to be done, but what are kind of your thoughts as this look ahead, losing guys like Jack Caglione, Shell Note, Dale Thomas, some big names there that are going to be gone?
Yeah, well, listen, Florida fans, I tried. Jack's girlfriend is returning for her senior season. She plays volleyball at Florida. I mentioned that to him. Hey, you have another year of eligibility. Ellie's going to be at Gainesville. he giggled. I think Ellie will off happy with whatever Jack's first contract and signing bonus is as well. So I don't know that she wants him to stay. But yeah, Florida really, when you look at it, has two infielders returning. You could get Colby Shelton back. He's a draft eligible sophomore. But if he leaves, you only have Cade Curlin and Sammy Mamau, who's a freshman who hasn't played this year and is redshirting. So it's a situation where you look and you say, hey, you have a couple guys coming in as freshmen, but you probably need to use the portal to get guys. And I think what we're seeing now, and it might change a little bit, because this should be the last transfer portal class with those COVID super seniors in it. But I think what we've seen in the college landscape because of COVID and because of the transfer portal is that these rosters have guys who are 22, 23 years old, when programs like Florida, LSU, Clemson, it was rare to even have seniors on your roster, let alone graduate seniors. So Florida should make, I think, a pretty strong push in the transfer portal overall, but just numbers-wise, you're going to need to replace a lot of infielders.
All right, Nick, we appreciate your time. Again, first pitch is at 2 o'clock on Saturday. I'm very confident that you will make it to Clemson, South Carolina, well before 2 o'clock for the Gators and the Tigers. And, of course, we will be following along with you online on X or Twitter or whatever they call it these days. You can find him at De La Torre. Thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
All right, have a safe rest of your
somewhere in Gray, Georgia.
Yeah, I've made that trip, so I had a feeling I knew where he was.
I know. I was like, is that a place, or are you just calling Georgia Gray? Because I've seen both.
True, although I think it's pretty sunny here.
It's
so
nice here.
I'd have to look at the radar, but yeah, I would expect it to be the same thing. I, by the way, am going to a concert Saturday night, so I could not be happier, assuming that the weather holds, and first pitch is really 2 o'clock on Saturday, that the game is earlier.
Yes.
I've been to concerts
Assuming the weather holds.
Right, that's like I said. Assuming the weather holds. I went to a concert during COVID. They had John Party play at the stadium, and
that was the car,
it was
parking lot
everybody.
one?
Yeah, had to be in parking lots and spaces, and separated from other people and all that fun stuff. And it was the weather actually didn't hold for that concert, but that's fine. It was delayed, but Florida had already lost to Texas A&M, and I was still trying to watch other college football, and it was one of those things where it's like I hate having to split my time. And so I'm just so glad this game hopefully will be over well in advance of the concert.
And you can just enjoy it fully.
And yes, I can absolutely. Yes, exactly. That is exactly the plan. All right. So speaking of baseball, I'm sure y'all were paying close attention to the Pirates and the Dodgers yesterday. Here is what it sounded like with Paul Skeens going up against Shohei Ohtani.
And now it's Skeens versus Ohtani, and the wow from the crowd. It's an incredible show to watch Skeens anytime, but now the fans are so into every pitch, and especially a team like the Dodgers, and especially this guy at the plate. The reaction is incredible here. 0-2. How do you like this show? How do you like this show, Pittsburgh?
All right, giddy up. 3-2. Ohtani tees off. Straight away center field. This ball's gone. Power supplies power. Home run number 15 for Shohei. Gets the Dodgers on the board against Paul Skeens.
So who are you cheering for? Shohei Ohtani, one of the faces of baseball, or Paul Skeens, maybe one of the future faces of baseball?
I did find out the Dodgers are playing the Yankees on Sunday, so part of me is like, let's let Shohei get his before Sunday Night Baseball. Maybe just use all his effort against Paul Skeens and trying to just show the rookie, give him his lumps or whatever they're saying in the WNBA these days. Look, we were talking about the best stadiums yesterday, and I think because obviously we have Frank in the building with us, and he's a diehard Pirates fan. The Pirates are one of those organizations that I would like to be good, and this is, again, ultimate David and Goliath, because the Pirates are perennially David in this situation. And so I think that, I speak for a lot of baseball fans when I say, as exciting as Shohei is as a player, I think, I kind of like when the Dodgers lose, and that's coming from a Yankees fan. I know there's plenty of people who like when the Yankees lose. It's just the nature of sports.
Yeah, the Pirates are in my division, and I still find myself cheering for Paul Skeens. So when he made his debut against the Cubs, and I remember being like, okay, I want to see a good pitching performance from Paul Skeens because it's all we've talked about. A year ago, we're watching him in the college, obviously the regionals and the World Series, and then now we're watching him absolutely dominate Major League Baseball pretty quickly. And so it's just 27 innings pitched, 3 ERA, 38 strikeouts, 3-0 win-loss record. And that first game when he played the Cubs, he was incredible, and I already was like, oh, this is going to be not fun to face this guy multiple times this season. Obviously, being a divisional guy, I kind of joke with Frank about it, and I'm like, the Pirates will trade him to like the Yankees or the Red Sox in a couple seasons anyway, so enjoy it while you have it.
I don't know. They are building a pretty good nucleus, though.
But they
They were once upon a time with Garrett Cole too. How'd that turn out?
They just trade everybody. It's like what the Pirates do.
Like the Rays.
They
Sorry,
develop
Lauren.
all these guys, bring them up, they do really well, and then they're like, all right, well, it's time to move on.
You're too expensive.
It would be fun to see the opposite. It's kind of like with the Lions, like that you almost feel bad for the Lions with all of this, and the Pirates are kind of that same kind of organization. They don't have money, so they can't pay the players the way that other people pay the players. So this is their best case scenario, is finding guys like this. But watching these two against each other is just incredible, because you're watching one of the best pitchers in baseball right now who's super young, but then you're also watching somebody, one of the best hitters in baseball right now. And Shohei at the plate is just phenomenal to watch because his eye's incredible. And so watching what Skeens was able to do to Shohei was wild. And the amount of people commenting on it on my Twitter was just like, man, this is a matchup. Like, I would watch this every day. I would watch Paul Skeens versus Shohei every single day.
Yeah, when he's hitting over 100 miles per hour deep into like innings 4 and 5, it's literally just you scratch your head and go, please stay healthy. Like, how's he doing it? But also, please stay healthy. I have to say, I have a cop-out answer, but I was cheering for both. Like, I want Skeens to strike him out, but I loved that Shohei got the home run off of him, because you do want the rookie to understand just how difficult playing in the bigs is. And Shohei just has this sweet, innocent face. Like, there's just something about him, and I guess everything he's been through with the former interpreter and everything, it just makes me root for really both of them. And certainly, like you said, Frank being a diehard Pirates fan, that sometimes when someone's a diehard fan, it makes you root more against someone, or sometimes you root for them. And just how down the Pirates have been for so long, it would be fun. Like you said, I mean, for some people, it's kind of like the Jags, like from other parts of the country. Like, oh, we like Trevor Lawrence, and that fan base.
We want them to succeed for you to succeed.
Exactly. All right, we will get to the position coaches and what they had to say about the 2024 Jaguars when we return. You are listening to Helmets and Heels live here at Roland Reich Plumbing, where quality and experience count, on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels.
This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. Here's another look behind the microphone at 1010XL with Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
So tired of you getting angry and yelling all the time. It's exhausting.
Mornings on 1010XL.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is the sports medicine leader in Northeast Florida. We're proud to be the official sports medicine provider for your hometown teams, including the Jaguars, Sharks, Axemen, and the Jumbo Shrimp. We have the most cutting-edge resources for sports medicine care, including active armor casting, Alter-G anti-gravity treadmills, and highly trained physicians and athletic trainers. JOI is truly where the pros go, and so should you.
Let's fire up the flavor and ignite those appetites. Let's slow down and smell the barbecue. 'Cause all your favorites are smoked for hours and ready for eating when you are. From our famous ribs to slow smoked pork. Enjoy some perfection by the plateful, safely in our dining room or in the comfort of your home. With curbside pickup, drive-through, and delivery. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Chelsea here from Renewal by Anderson, where we deliver custom-designed energy savings windows and doors. Did you know our unique Fibrix material combines elegance and resilience, offering double the strength of traditional vinyl? Now through June, buy one window or patio door and receive 140% off, plus 0 down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 12 months. Restrictions apply. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com for details. License number CGC 1527613.
A bucket of balls and free advice from PGA pros. Brunch with the Tour.
What's this about?
Dan, Jeff, and PGA Tour insiders.
It's a bit simplistic, but basically correct.
Brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation. 8:30 Tuesday morning on 1010XL.
The moment you've been waiting for has arrived. The Poker Atlas Tour is blazing its way through Best Bet St. Augustine now through June 16th. Get in on the action with 7 poker events, highlighted by the $600 No Limit Hold'em title event, boasting a $200,000 guaranteed prize pool. You can also dive into our $300 event 1 with a $100,000 guarantee. Join us at Best Bet St. Augustine for the Poker Atlas Tour now through June 16th. Head to bestbetjacks.com for details. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Hawthorne Heights presents 20 Years of Tears live at the St. Augustine Amphitheater Thursday, August 8th with special guests Thursday, Amberlynn, Armor for Sleep, Emery, and This Wild Life. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com.
AC Hotline, how can I help?
Help! Our AC isn't working, and my husband's pouring ice cubes down his pants.
Wow, okay, well, we can help with the AC issue.
Please. I'm afraid he's going to damage something.
Okay, I'm going to connect you with the Duck.
The doc?
No, the Duck. Duck Air Conditioning. Jacksonville area's AC experts.
Okay, tell them to hurry.
Beat the Florida heat with Duck Air Conditioning. Service, repairs, new installations, commercial or residential. Trust the Duck. DuckDuckAC.com.
What's changed totally inside and out? The Kuhn Flowers massive storefront, and yes, they've totally remodeled the showroom inside too. This is Frank Frangie, and the next time you drive by, stop and smell the roses at Kuhn Flowers.
At Hodges Mazda, we are proud of our solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. Lauren Brooks here. As your hometown Mazda dealer, our high customer service standards and our huge inventory of new and used cars provide our customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Our professional non-commissioned sales team always puts your best interests first. Plus, every vehicle purchase comes with 2 years free maintenance. What Mazda moves you? Find out. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at HodgesMazda.com to discover the Hodges Mazda difference.
All right, guys, be a true grill master with the Sausage Dudes sausage and upgrade that cookout. The Sausage Dudes are guys from Jacksonville who use their family recipes to make better sausage with the best cuts of pork, carefully sourced spices, and natural casings. And the Sausage Dudes are mission-minded, supporting the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida. Try all 4 flavors because your cookout deserves better. Now available at all Publix stores in the frozen meat section. Head to Publix today and get your hands on the Sausage Dudes sausage.
Make every day brighter, every laugh louder, and every moment memorable at the YMCA. More than just the gym, the Y is a community where you can dive into fun, fitness, family time, and make new friends all under one roof. With complimentary youth sports, childcare while you work out, summer camp savings, and more, the Y is the best value for families. Join the Y today and grow stronger together with amazing summer membership savings for a limited time. Find details at fcymca.org.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
All right, get those boats ready. The Dailies Old School Kingfish Shootout presented by Yellowfin is coming soon to St. Augustine. It's June 8th. Just go to oldschoolkingfish.com. You can find out more. The grand prize is a Yellowfin bay boat. And with limited boundaries, no bait buying, and no checkout, it is seriously old school. That's why it's the Old School Kingfish Shootout. Here's how you do it. You go online, you sign up, and you become part of what is going to a terrific event. It's the Old School Kingfish Shootout. Go to oldschoolkingfish.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels.
Illuminated by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl, Mia O'Brien. I'm Lauren Brooks. We are live here at Roland Reach Plumbing for their 25th anniversary. Roland Reach can handle both residential and commercial plumbing with 24/7 emergency service. RJ Saunders back at 1010XL headquarters making it all happen. Mia, yesterday we got to chat with the position coaches for the Jags offensively and defensively. I did notice that Bill Shuey's title on the table still said outside linebackers coach. Are we going to change that placard for next year to make it defensive ends coach?
No, when I spoke to him, I asked him. That was the first question I asked him. And you can find our full-length interviews with all of those assistant coaches at the 1010XL Jaguars. Yes, 1010XL Jaguars YouTube channel, not the main page. And that was the first question I asked him. I was like, so what position group do you coach now? And I asked the same thing of Jeremy Garrett, the defensive line coach. And Shuey said, really, outside of technique, it's not a whole heck of a lot different. And don't forget, Lauren, as we will hear in just a second, Bill Shuey coached the Chicago Bears. He was the assistant outside linebackers coach and then the outside linebackers coach for the Chicago Bears, which, as Taylor knows, was a 4-3 scheme that fit Travis Gibson. And so that's what's interesting about it is he was actually an outside linebackers coach, and that was his title for a defense that predominantly in base downs was a 4-3 front. And now here we are, all a full circle moment. Not only that he is once again an outside linebackers coach for a defense that doesn't actually have any outside linebackers, technically, only in name, and he is once again coaching Travis Gibson. And we're gonna hear that sound in just a little bit because I want to prep Taylor for it.
Okay.
We have to build to this because I just know Taylor. He's a guy, and if you want to reiterate for our listeners, kind of the story from your perspective of how Travis Gibson came to be in the National Football League.
Yeah, the start of Travis, you saw very little of him the first season, and a lot of that was because they had already so many players on that roster. It was just full. It wasn't because Travis wasn't good. You saw things. He was one of the guys that almost immediately in camp you talked about, and more so like how we do in OTAs where you're like, whoa, like he just looks – he's not massive, but he's a big dude, and he's a solid dude, and everyone was always like, man, he looks quick, and – all of these positive things coming out of camp. Then you didn't really see a ton that first year. It was glimpses here and there where you're like, okay, Travis made a play. But that next season, and that's when they switched. They went from a 3-2 to a 4-3 between those two seasons. And that's when a light just went on. And like I mentioned the other day on here, that I think a lot of it was because he was surrounded by a lot of veteran guys. He was surrounded by Khalil Mack, Akeem Hicks, Robert Quinn, all of these guys that had been in the NFL for a really long time and were really successful at their positions. They all had career years within those few years. And so I think that helped Travis a lot that season, just having that veteran, the leadership to kind of guide him through year two of being in the NFL, and also a new scheme, and also technically a position switch. So it was fun to watch that development, though. And then we saw almost immediately impact from Travis. It was within the first 2-3 weeks, people were like, we want to see more Travis on the football field. Unfortunately, Eberflus had other things. Al-Quadi Muhammad was the starter, so he was ahead of Travis in that position. And so you didn't really see much of him for the middle gap of the year. But then injuries started plaguing the Bears.
This is 2023 now.
22. And so at this point, you started seeing – no.
Yeah,
22.
Because at this point, Bill Shuey is here in Jacksonville as the outside linebackers coach.
And so during that time, at the end, when injuries happened and Travis had to step in, he played such a massive role. And it was one of those situations where you almost felt like the defense, and it was crazy to think about because you did have – I just named all these guys who were on that defense. You did have all of these guys who were solid starters for a long time in the NFL, and all of a sudden you were wanting this young guy to be on the field over some of these guys that had been playing football for a really long time at this level. And so it was fun to watch that development. And then obviously the next year just didn't work out. They started moving things around again. They weren't playing him as much. He lost a lot of playing time, which I don't know why, because everybody in Chicago was like, why aren't we playing Travis? Come to find out, they switched back. They switched to another. They switched the scheme again, and it wasn't an effective way that Travis was able to do it. So they ended up parting ways with Travis. A lot of Bears fans after were upset. Some were like, well, let him go somewhere where he can fit in the scheme. And unfortunately, he hasn't been able to see that. So I truly think that him being here in Jacksonville and the way that Nielsen does run his defense is perfect for what Travis's strengths are.
I'm sure they talked to Bill Shuey and asked about Travis Gibson and whether or not he would be a good culture fit.
When I had an opportunity to speak with the folks here about, hey, there's a guy out there, I've coached him, I know he plays hard, I think he might be a good fit. And then, Trent and his guys, they talked with the agents and they were able to make that happen. I was happy to have Travis here. Yeah. I knew he'd be good for the room, he'd be good for the culture, he'd be good because I know he's going to compete. And then, as they make decisions on the roster, he'll make some decisions tough because I think he will make those other guys, like there's a group of guys right there, and everybody's going to have to be at their very best.
And I think that was what surprised me most was that, and I think that's, number one, I think that's the the mantra in a Ryan Nielsen world
Mm-hmm.
that no one's job is guaranteed. Everyone's competing. But the fact that Bill Shuey was very open, that he's like, Travis may not make the 53. Like,
Yeah.
and that's the mindset we have for everyone, from Trayvon Walker on down.
He also, by the way, worked with Roy Robertson Harris, too. And Roy Robertson Harris was an end in Chicago.
Correct, which is where, to your original question, Lauren, that's what I think will be curious, and that's why I asked Jeremy Garrett specifically who he's working with as the defensive line coach, and he said defensive tackles. So the nose tackles, the 3 techs, interior defensive linemen, that is who he is working with. But then it's interesting because there's 2 technically outside linebacker defensive end coaches, even though, again, it's a 4-3 and predominantly it would be considered defensive ends, not outside linebackers.
Right, and speaking of Jeremy, it was fun, Taylor, when I asked him about Ryan Nielsen, because they're both going to be working with defensive line, and he said, yeah, I think a lot of people don't know that I actually played for Ryan Nielsen in 2005 at Ole Miss.
Oh.
And I was like, I
Well,
don't think a lot of people knew
Yeah.
that, so I absolutely love that, and he told us he has 3 kids, 2 boys, 14 and 10, and a little girl that's 2 years old.
Oh.
And he said, yes, before you even ask, she is spoiled.
She rules the world in that.
She certainly does. Another takeaway I had as we get to Chris Richard. So he had this quote. This has nothing to do with necessarily on the field football, but more off the field culture wise. Chris Richard had a quote that I think could go on T-shirts or on little placards on people's desks. Insecure people are dangerous people. If you really stop and think about that, when we talk about the WNBA, you could 100% put that quote on that and all the drama going on with that.
Outside
right now.
of sports, you could put that on.
For
a
sure.
lot of
that-
people in this world that have done bad things. I mean, that's where a lot of the
Sure.
root is.
Yeah, so insecure people are dangerous people. I absolutely loved that. But of course, Chris Richard was asked about working with defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen again.
This is a funny one here, right?
Yeah.
'Cause, and he brought it back to my attention a couple of weeks ago. And there was I think our first interaction ever was never a real interaction. It was kind of like, maybe I can't remember what newspaper it was, but the first time that I could ever remember hearing his name or knowing who he was they switched our pictures kind of on an announcement, right? And so they're like, hey, Ryan Nielsen's going to USC, but it's my picture there. Right, and then they're going, Chris Richard's going to USC, and then it's like, so it's like his, and I know that pissed him off, like he had to, right? Because again, intense dude, man, and I know he must have been looking right again, the young Ryan Nielsen looking at like, who the heck is this dude? Like that's not me. But no, like we've always shared kind of the same love for doing things right, and for understanding football and just kind of wanted to do it right all the time. Like I said, that's what ultimately leads to success. So that level of discipline, that care, that love for doing things right, like we've always kind of shared that value.
I love it. It's wild. It reminds me how small the football world is. Because, and I see this a lot on my podcast of when I'm talking to people and they're like, oh yeah, I recruited him back when I was at this school, or I recruited his dad back and it's like the connections that everybody has, and it's so funny, but it also shows just the path and the trajectory of a lot of these people and leading them back to a team where they're back together now. And how much more does that add to cohesiveness of being familiar with somebody already in the world of football, whether it's college football or NFL?
Well, that's where, let's be real, Doug Peterson, even if he won't say it, he knows that there's pressure to succeed this year after how things ended last year. So you can't afford to fail.
Yeah.
And a surefire path, at least in theory, to victory is a group of coaches who have worked together before and have won games together before. That's what Richard and Nielsen were able to do in New Orleans, where together as co-DCs, perennially top 5, top 10 defense. Obviously, Ryan Nielsen then parlayed that into a DC job in Atlanta. And even if with Richard, if things didn't go exactly as planned in Dallas, he was the defensive backs coach of the Legion of Boom once upon a time. And so, again, these are guys that have proven track records, not only individually but together. And it is funny because you've got, like, Jeremy Garrett, who's the young guy who played for Ryan Nielsen. You got Chris Richard, who came up through college at the same time as Ryan Nielsen. So, but it's a good mix, I think. But to your point, some of the quirky little stories that came out of yesterday, Taylor, I didn't get this one. Apparently, this was from News for Jags with Jamal because I didn't get a chance to speak with Corey Robinson, the assistant secondary coach. apparently he recruited Christian Braswell when he was in high school.
Oh.
So, yeah, so full, and they're both from
yeah.
the DMV, and so, like, a very full circle. He's like, yeah, like, you know, we kept in touch, and little did we know that I would get this job, and because we already knew each other, he texts me on the weekends, and he'll say, like, hey, I'm watching on my iPad, like, what does this, and this mean? And so there's already familiarity, and, you know, I think it's kind of funny, all the tentacles that have connected this group of players to this staff already.
And Jeremy Garrett told us that he recruited Devon Hamilton. And so certainly has a lot of familiarity with him, and the expectations, as we've detailed on this program for Devon, are sky high after he's going to be back to healthy. So those are the defensive coaches. Tomorrow we'll get to the offensive coaches, running backs coach Jerry Mack, wide receivers coach Chad Hall, and yeah, it'll be a lot of fun to talk more about the offense. All right, we've got one segment to go here live at Roland Reach Plumbing on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
There's a new one-stop shop for all things Jags. Subscribe to the 1010XL Jaguars YouTube channel. One-on-one interviews with players, practice footage, podcasts, and more. If you're looking for the best Big Cat coverage around, look no further. 1010XL Jaguars on YouTube.
Mia here. The NBA playoffs are heating up, and it's the perfect time to elevate your game with MyBookie. With MyBookie, you can bet from anywhere, anytime, so you never miss a shot to cash in on a play. You can even live stream and bet on the games right from the sportsbook, giving you everything you'll need to decide, cash out or let it ride. MyBookie really makes it easy to get paid with tons of boosted props and slam dunk parlays. And new boosts are now posted on the daily. It's more than just a sportsbook. Buzzer beaters, underdog upsets, and a community to share in all of the sweats. Give yourself a head start today and play with house money using promo code 1010XL when you make your first deposit. That's promo code 1010XL to claim a limited time bonus when you sign up and make your first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
The hottest trend in casual dining has expanded in Jacksonville with its 5th location off 103rd. The Flame Broiler serves up protein-packed rice bowls. It's fast, healthy, and affordable. Order online at flamebroilerusa.com or visit any of our 5 locations. Flame Broiler, simply healthy.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it. They do it, whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
I insist on complete honesty.
You can chime in anytime on the 1010XL text line.
Installed by Lifetime Flooring.
If you have something to say to me, I wish you would just say it.
Share your opinion.
Are you nuts?
What?
641-1010.
It's crazy. Hey Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center will get your sex life back in just one visit. Their painless, breakthrough medical treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Prime Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments will restore your sex life regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Plus, you'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients will have their testosterone checked free. Call 904-902-8222. 904-902-8222. To regain your sex life in just one visit, call now. 904-902-8222.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate. Let's go! Join us this Saturday, June 8th at 7 o'clock in the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena as your Sharks take on the Tulsa Oilers. Great seats are still available. Ask about our awesome family package. 4 tickets, 4 food or merchandise vouchers, and a $25 Al's Pizza gift card. Get yours today. Call 904-621-0700 or visit jacksonsharks.com. Shark Tank is having a luau, so break out your flip-flops and grass skirts and come join us. Check out the Polynesian dancers and learn the hula at Shark Fest, our pregame party. The first 1,000 fans will get a free lei. It's going to be a totally tubular night.
Jacksonville Sharks, Tulsa Oilers.
That's Saturday, June 8th, 7 o'clock. For tickets, call 904-621-0700 or visit jacksonsharks.com. That's 904-621-0700 or jacksharks.com. Let's go!
Let's go.
This is Hayes Carlion for QC Kinetics. Are you not able to enjoy this summer as much as you want because of joint pain? Well, give my friends at QC Kinetics a call at 904-274-5522 for a free consultation. They're serving the Jacksonville area with locations in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra Beach. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue so you can walk, run, hike, play golf, move again, pain-free. Their advanced protocols have enabled tens of thousands of patients to reclaim their mobility. Stop putting it off. Take action now and live your best life again. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation, 904-274-5522 in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra. That is QC Kinetics.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, let's cool down here live at Roland Reach. Taylor, what did you take from today's show?
So I took that if you have players on your roster that you think you could pluck and put on Super Bowl teams, Super Bowl winning teams or Super Bowl appearing teams, and they would have starting roles, then you're definitely building a roster that's going in the right direction. You have a foundation of a very solid foundation to start, and we went through that in the beginning of the show of who we think from Jacksonville would start on either the Chiefs or the Niners, and there were some position groups that we didn't have many, others there were some, but to me, if you have the ones that right now you say they would have a starting role on one of those teams, or even honestly the playoff teams that go deep, then you're building in the right direction. And I think from here now it's just kind of building from that and getting consistent, staying healthy, continuing to develop some of these young guys that you want to see take that next step. And from there, I think you have a team, and with this combination of young and now veteran guys that they've brought in this last free agency, a team that I think can genuinely compete with some of the better teams in the league.
Doug Gottlieb's dad coached at JU. Didn't know that. You learn something new every day. Our thanks to Doug for joining us. Gray, Georgia is northeast of Macon, Georgia. Learn something new every day. And finally, I'm very interested to see, especially looking at the MyBookie lines for the College World Series odds for the winner, not just who would advance, to see how this series between Florida and Clemson goes down, because I think that obviously, Lauren, we've talked about it at length. Jack Caglione is obviously the headliner, and if anything, the supporting cast around him has been the question mark, but the supporting cast is largely what has lifted them, especially in among their pitchers over the last week plus, if not 2 weeks. I have concerns about that offense because I just don't think, and again, maybe this is just the plight of being a Yankees fan, I don't believe the home run ball is sustainable, but if it can carry Florida back to the College World Series, well, they currently have the, I'm doing the math right now, the 9th best odds of the remaining 16 teams. I believe that's right, or maybe that's the 11th best odds. Yes, 11th best odds. Clemson with the 6th best odds, according to MyBookie, at plus 1075 to win the College World Series. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we all know that baseball is largely about your pitching rotation. and your offense can it get hot at the right time.
Big Ten scores. I liked that from Nick De La Torre. We're going to see
Yes.
Big Ten scores up in Clemson, South Carolina this weekend.
Clemson has 4 guys who have double-digit home runs. Florida has 7, but one of those guys, Ty Evans, as De La Torre noted, has obviously gotten hurt throughout a couple weeks ago. And so you've got, I think, a little bit better of offense. Their highest home run total is, I think, 21. Cags is at 31, so a little bit of an advantage there. But moreover, what does the pitching look like for Florida if you do have Cags start game 2? Is he going to get let up like he did last weekend against Oklahoma State, or does he pitch really well? And he obviously can be one of the best pitchers in all of the country. He's got the stuff. It's just, is he accurate that day? And he's one of those guys. So I used to say this when Blake Snell played for the Rays. Within the first few pitches, you would know if it was a day that Blake Snell was on or if it's a day that he was off. And yes, he can be the Cy Young Award winner a couple different times, but there were days that he just didn't have it.
Yeah.
And Cags, to me, is certainly that guy. But if he can play well offensively, we'll see, like we talked about, if Kevin O'Sullivan, what he decides with that rotation. And Liam Peterson has been the best pitcher as of late, so I would expect for him to start the Saturday game. So, again, Saturday first pitch at 2 o'clock.
I have very exciting news from the world of hockey. Yes, as they say in hockey, let's do
that
that hockey. The Utah hockey team has narrowed it down to 6 names.
Okay.
I've already told Taylor, so Lauren, this is the first time you're hearing the 6 names. I don't think engineer extraordinaire John O'Leary has heard the 6 finalists. Neither have many of you Heeligans. The voting is now open. Here we go, if they'll actually let me vote, because I already voted once. I may or may not vote again. That's okay, because I have a screenshot of it saved. Here they are. The Utah Mammoth, Utah Hockey Club, Utah Outlaws, the Utah Yeti, the Utah Venom, and the Utah Blizzard.
Well,
one of those 6 names will be joining the NHL.
If they're smart and they want an NIL deal, they're going to go with Yeti.
I hope they do.
Because if you love good cups, if you love good coolers, if
mythical
backpack
creatures,
coolers,
like on the
Yeah,
heels of
that
the
too.
Utah Jazz announcing their new permanent throwback jerseys that go back to that John Stockton era. They lean into the Glacier theme. You got the Glacier theme with the basketball team, the
Yeah,
Yeti.
that's what I would pick.
I would pick the Yeti. I blame the Washington Commanders for the Utah Hockey Club. Like, what
I
have
don't
we
like
done with society because of the Washington football team's 2-year existence? Now it's like we're allowed to say that.
Go.
Like, oh, insert town, insert sport, insert team. Like,
You're like, go hockey club.
I would blame soccer. I would blame soccer, but this goes beyond that. Like, go hockey club. Like, go HC.
HC.
Yeah.
HC's the
I
head
don't love it.
coach. Yeah, so I'm voting for the Yeti.
I kind of like Outlaws.
Yeah,
I think that's
okay.
the one I like.
I mean, that does go, the Utah
Utah
Outlaws.
Outlaws.
The Jumbo Shrimp last night won 2-1 at Charlotte. The doubleheader begins today at 5:30 up there in North Carolina. And if you're following along with college softball, then you already know Oklahoma beat Texas 8-3. Game 2 is tonight at 8 o'clock. If Oklahoma wins, they will have won their 4th straight national championship in softball.
I saw this on Twitter earlier, and let me ask you your opinion on this real quick. Somebody tweeted about how if they win it all again, they need to consider moving
out of
Oklahoma City, because they're like, there's a clear correlation. They're like, imagine
right, if Nebraska won every year.
Yeah. And so there, because someone,
baseball.
people kept commenting like, okay, well, LSU won in Louisiana, and they were like, okay, now imagine they did that 5 years straight. People would start to question there's something beyond it.
But it's always been in Oklahoma City, has it not?
Since 1990.
Right. So that's you can't help that because the national championship, the College World Series is there. Obviously, that's going to inspire lots of young girls who live in Oklahoma to want to play softball, to one day play there, and to play at the University of Oklahoma, the flagship state university. So I feel bad, but also I don't, because this is just, if you build it, they will come, and they've come to the University of Oklahoma. They have the right coach in place, and this is the byproduct of it. I mean, let's be real.
They're definitely good. There's talent.
Right,
and that's
You're just whining.
Right, like, let's be real here. Like, for so long, and this is through this year, they have had an Albany or a Hartford regional in women's college basketball in the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 portion of the tournament because the odds were good that UConn was going to be there, and they wanted UConn fans to be able to come and fill the arena.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing, but it just happened that way.
But there is also something to it, though, of how much we say, like, home field advantage, home court advantage.
Right.
It is a piece of a little bit of it, and that's why it was
But
just
it's not
a
in
tweet.
Norman.
Yeah.
It's in Oklahoma City.
Which is a 20-minute drive. I've done it.
Yeah, I just think people are whining a little bit. But I will say the best pitcher for Oklahoma played at Oklahoma State for years and then transferred to Oklahoma. Those Oklahoma State Cowboys fans, not happy.
I
and,
bet.
And she had competed in the College World Series before, but with Oklahoma State.
Understandably, and before we go, Coach Campo has cast his vote. He voted for the Blizzard.
The Blizzard. That was my second.
He does have some roots in Utah, so if Coach Campo's saying Blizzard, maybe there's some other Utah natives and transplants out there that are also voting Blizzard.
Get some Dairy Queen Blizzards.
If you need plumbing services, contact Roland Reich, 904-260-7059, or online at plumbingjacksonville.com. They service Jacksonville, the beaches, Orange Park, St. Augustine, Fernandina Beach. They can handle both residential and commercial plumbing with 24/7 emergency service. We really appreciate Roland Reich for having us out today. Of course, Don't Go Anywhere XL Primetime comes up next. For Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow on a Feel Good Friday.
All over you.